What's up, guys? I'm here to talk to you guys about what I think the Rock versus John Cena match did for John Cena himself. You know, this entire week, the entire wrestling world has simply been talking about the aftermath of what happened with the Rock not appearing on Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania 29. But one thing people haven't been talking about is what this match did for John Cena, what the outcome and the result of this match did for John Cena himself. It seems like no one has been able to focus on the legacy and the status of John Cena going forward into the future, because as we all know, in the past, when they say the passing of the torch match happens, ultimately it solidifies the wrestler who won that match, the current star who won that match. Ultimately, what it does is it gives them legendary status, and it furthers their career even more. No one has seemed to be talking about what this match did for John Cena and whether or not he is now considered a legend in the business, an icon. If his legacy has taken a new role, if it's achieved the next step in John Cena being even more successful than he is. What did this match do for his legacy? And ultimately, I don't think it did absolutely anything for John Cena, because the night after Raw, we didn't have The Rock there to congratulate John Cena, to show him a sign of respect, to show the fans that he respects John Cena. He didn't pass the torch to him on Raw. I mean, yeah, they shook hands and they ended the show together on top of the stage set at WrestleMania, celebrating to end WrestleMania. But we still needed to see a little promo between both John Cena and The Rock the next night. Basically, them two thanking each other as a sign of respect. And maybe then that would have done something for John Cena and benefited his career even more. But the fact that we didn't even get The Rock, and he seemed to not even make it a focal point to make John Cena be the main focus of Raw the next night. WWE didn't even have John Cena point out The Rock or even thank The Rock on Raw the next night. So I think something's a little fishy here. I don't think they're done with this story between John Cena and The Rock. It just seems kind of odd to me that the next night, John Cena didn't even acknowledge The Rock for not being on Raw. He didn't even acknowledge The Rock by saying thank you for this match and I respect you. He didn't even say anything like that amongst those lines on Raw the next night. He didn't say anything in concern to The Rock when it comes to him putting him over and being here the last 3 years, basically to give back to the fans. John Cena acknowledged none of that, and The Rock did the same thing. He didn't acknowledge anything John Cena has done at all. So I think there's more to the story. I think that sadly we are going to get part 3 between the Rock and John Cena sometime down the line. We are going to see John Cena versus The Rock happen very soon. I'm telling you guys. There is going to be a third and final match to conclude this long rivalry. But the question is, when is it going to happen? I see it happening at SummerSlam, because The Rock is set to be done filming Hercules by the time summer rolls around, late summer, you know, in August and something like that. So I'm thinking we might see The Rock versus John Cena, the rematch part 3, take place at SummerSlam. And if not SummerSlam, well, guys, I guess we're going to have to go with WrestleMania 30, because I think, I mean, what else can WWE do? That is the pay-per-view that they rely on The Rock for to get them the buy rates that they're looking for when it comes to WrestleMania. John Cena and The Rock are ultimately the biggest faces in professional wrestling right now, and WWE is relying on both of them to keep carrying the company for them. So as much as you guys hate for me to say this, and I hate myself for saying this as well, but we are going to see The Rock versus John Cena part 3, especially since on Raw we heard Booker T say that The Rock is entitled to his rematch, as every former champion is granted a rematch clause for their WWE Championship. So once The Rock comes back, he's definitely going to get his rematch, and he's definitely going to get his title match, because that's just the way it is in WWE. You always get your rematch when you lose the title, and it's only logical. It makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world for when The Rock to come back, he gets his title shot. There's no way in hell The Rock is going to come back and not even mention anything about a rematch, or not even mention the fact that he lost the title and he's granted a rematch. He is going to come. When he comes back, he's going to talk about how he was looking to become WWE champion again, and that's ultimately is what's going to happen. He's going to look forward to having another shot at the title and becoming champion again and defeating John Cena again. That's basically the model of this story, guys. I can see it happening, because if the conclusion between John Cena and The Rock didn't happen on Raw this past Monday, then that definitely means they're going to continue the story and they're not done feuding. It seems like the conclusion will happen after they have their Part 3 match. And basically, after that match, that's when this will all conclude. And maybe then they'll have the big send-off for The Rock. And then maybe The Rock will thank and congratulate John Cena and pass the torch to him. But right now, I just don't think that the torch has been passed to John Cena just yet, especially since they went back to the same old routine of booing John Cena, and the fact that he didn't even talk about how grateful he is for winning the match last week at WrestleMania. Because the way the show started off with John Cena, it's like he didn't seem to care that he won. Because you know what I mean? It was like the same old shit with him. The champ is here, nothing's new, it was predictable, we all knew it was coming, so John Cena didn't even bother to talk about him being grateful for beating The Rock and finally getting it out the way. He didn't talk about any of that. He just went to his normal routine of being WWE Champion again, having a smile on his face, and knowing that he's still the man of WWE. So nothing different came out of John Cena on Raw, which is why I think that he's still not in legendary status yet. I think he has to beat The Rock one more time and acknowledge his existence next time in order for that legacy to further itself for John Cena. But yeah, like, this final match that they're going to have in the future, it has to be a huge payoff. It has to end in controversial fashion. It has to be done differently, way differently, in order for it to be considered one of the most successful things we've ever seen in the WWE. It has to be delivered perfectly. It has to be delivered in a way that's going to be memorable and special for years to come. So, yeah, like, to me, John Cena still doesn't have the torch until The Rock shakes his hand live on Raw TV and he thanks him and he congratulates him and tells him that he respects him. Until basically The Rock puts over John Cena and says, "Kid, you're not that bad. You actually are good." So until The Rock says that to John Cena, I just don't think that John Cena is there yet, because right now he's still in the same hole he has found himself in for the last 10 years. And that's the fans still being split for him, still having mixed reactions for him, still booing him. Now, I'm not saying it's not normal for the face of the company to be booed, because as you saw in my previous video about John Cena, I already covered that, how it's one of the most significant things about the John Cena character is the fact that he gets mixed reactions, and that's actually a good thing. And, you know, it's not a shocker when the babyface of the company gets both cheered and booed. But what I'm trying to say is, to me, John Cena doesn't seem bigger than what he already is. He's not more successful than what he already is. He doesn't seem to have that legendary status with him yet. He's not larger than life than he already is. He needs to be more larger than life. To me, he's not immortal yet. So I think he needs to beat The Rock one more time and have a bigger match than the last two matches in order for me to say John Cena is larger than life. He is immortal, and he is a legend. Right now, I just don't feel that yet. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't think it did absolutely anything for John Cena, because it just seemed like on Raw the next night, like, it wasn't anything special. That's what it came off to. That's how it came off to me when John Cena's music hit and he went down the ring. It's like, okay, WrestleMania is over with. Now we're moving on. That's what it felt like. So this Rock versus Cena match didn't feel as important as it should have to me now looking back at it. But hopefully when they have their Part 3 match, that match has a huge payoff, as I already said. But what do you guys think? Will we see John Cena versus The Rock Part 3? I certainly think we are going to see that, even though I don't want to see it. But I think we're going to get that. So yeah, guys, just let me know what you think about that. And I'll be back for another video. I'm going to be talking about why wrestling crowds make WWE and their product overall better and fun to watch. That's going to be my next video, and it's going to be pretty entertaining and fun to watch. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video too. Peace out. I'll be back.